Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And today we're going to talk about preparation for SelectUSA 2022. And we're joined by great friend Darlene Bryant from GlobalSF. Hi, Darlene.
Hi, good to see you, Bill.
Great to see you as well. And so, thinking about the companies that are coming into the U.S. and, that's our audience is really all about, international companies coming into the U.S. And we've got this massive event, SelectUSA, coming. And obviously, San Francisco in the U.S. is the 800-pound gorilla. Everybody internationally knows about San Francisco. They may not know much about the U.S., but they know about Silicon Valley and San Francisco. So GlobalSF may be a new entity in terms of, from their state of mind. They may not be so aware of what you do, but do you want to talk a little bit about what GlobalSF does to help companies coming into the U.S. and particularly into the San Francisco marketplace?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, GlobalSF, I think a lot of people know us more as ChinaSF, which has been around since 2008. And our focus is in totally connecting the dots. Initially, of course, identifying, attracting companies from China and investment, and then helping local companies expand to China. And now as a global platform, we're working with partners throughout the world, right? Of course, San Francisco is our home base. We want companies to come to San Francisco. And because San Francisco has more than 75 trade offices, as well as, consulates, we say, do your global business headquartered in San Francisco. It's a blessed place to be. It's a great city to live in. It's very kind and welcoming to international, companies and folks. And, we love our tourists, of course, but it's a really nice city to live in and to work out of. Maybe not live in, but because of our public transportation, I always say, you know what, you don't have to live in San Francisco. Work in San Francisco. You can live throughout the Bay Area. You can take BART, you can take the ferry, you can take the Caltrain. There's always a way to come into the city because we actually have more than, pre-pandemic, I should say, we had over 250,000 people traveling to work inside the city, right? So you don't have to live here. It's actually very convenient.
Very cool. So, and SelectUSA obviously is an amazing platform, but why is it particularly important for your work and what you're doing? What about SelectUSA is so compelling?
Absolutely. I mean, we have been attending SelectUSA since it started, right? And we also have been partnering with the U.S. Commercial Service to do events overseas. SelectUSA is really important because even for San Francisco, because we never take it for granted that everybody knows San Francisco. But the thing is, to be able to be present at SelectUSA, we get to meet all our partners. We get to exchange information. We get to do, kind of a SWOT analysis too, right? On the spot, which I think is also very healthy without having to be mean. As sometimes, we see as like, we're getting competitive here, but, let's look at what the pros and cons of, of every single region. And we like to tell people, you know what, come talk to us. Learn about the state of California. We are the 5th largest economy in the world and not just in the United States. And so there are a lot of things that if you cannot do in San Francisco, maybe you can actually be located somewhere else in in our golden state of California. So at least, being there at SelectUSA, we're actually able to talk to people and actually give them a lay of the land. If you don't come to San Francisco, it's okay. California is a huge state. We're like 40 million people in population, and there's going to be a right place for you to come and land.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's so funny because you hear 5th largest economy in the world, and I'm not sure that really impacts people, but that's 5th largest economy against countries, not against states, yeah. And it's a massive number for sure.
Yes.
So one of the things that's a unique feature of SelectUSA are these spin-off events where you can go and visit various regions and states. And I know you're going to be hosting a San Francisco-based spin-off event. Do you want to talk about that? And I think, both kind of what are some of the highlights and what types of companies would really be appropriate for your spin-off?
Great, thank you. Thanks for asking. This year, we're focusing on biotech. We try to do a spinoff every single year, whether it's going to be virtual or in person. And this year, our focus is on biotech and life sciences. We are so delighted to say that we are partnering with QB3. And for those who don't know, QB3 is actually one of the first biotech and life science incubator that is a joint venture or a partnership between UCSF, UC Berkeley, as well as UC Santa Cruz, started in San Francisco. And for those who are new to learning about the biotech industry in San Francisco's biotech industry grew out of an area called Mission Bay. And it was because UCSF needed to expand, but most importantly, that the Center for Regenerative Medicine had to start somewhere, and it picked the city of San Francisco. And with that, we had actually grown in size, and also in venture capital, the amount that we raised, we had surpassed that of Boston. So people say that we are competing with Boston, and yes, in many ways we are, but it's really kind of cool when they have had a history of being the center of biotech and life sciences. And in a short period of 5 to 10 years, we have actually surpassed their size. And so we are partnering, we are having our event it's a 2-day program. We will be having day 1 at UC Berkeley out of QB3. And then day 2, we'll be having it in San Francisco out of Mission Bay, where UCSF is located. There will be opportunities for site visits. They'll learn, there will be panel discussions on the ecosystem itself. There will also be site visits to labs, as well as some of the startups in San Francisco, as well as at UC Berkeley. And if some, overseas startups, if they want to come and pitch to VCs here in San Francisco Bay Area, there will be an opportunity to do that. So, we want to create a program where it is not just inviting, but the thing is it makes sense, and that, that attendees and participants can actually experience being part of the ecosystem. So we hope that we will see more come this year, finally, after a 2-year hiatus.
It's nice to be in person again, for sure. And for our audience too, we'll put the link to the Spinoff event, okay, so that you can connect to that in the description. So Darlene, thinking of the companies that are coming, some of them already have operations in the US and they have good US familiarity, and others, this will be their first trip to the US and to SelectUSA. When you think about preparing for SelectUSA, as an attendee and as a participant, what are some of the things that you would suggest that companies do to get the most out of both the experience of attending SelectUSA, but also their US visit?
Yeah, I would say do your research. One, understand what industry, understand that, the United States is big. We're a large country, we're very spread out, and that, to be in a particular sector, understand which cities, I would say, versus regions, right? Understand which cities that would be interesting for you, and then make sure you find out what booths they're at, or at least reach out to those cities or states, and then be able to set up an appointment and meet with them, or at least make sure you get more information. Do research on, if you're interested in a particular city or region, find out when the spinoffs are. For example, in California, we have 2 spinoffs, right? We have LA, Select LA, as well as Select San Francisco, but we're targeting different industries. So, do your research. It's not so much where, hey, I want to go to the city, but the thing is that I want to go to the city with the sector and industry that makes most sense for me.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so what I heard was research and preset appointments, so that you're, when you get to SelectUSA, you're kind of having next level conversation as opposed to the very preliminary discovery type stuff. And I would imagine in your role, it's probably very helpful to be able to prepare for the companies that are coming, that are particularly interested in San Francisco. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, this is exciting, and it's just been fantastic to have this conversation. Of course, we'll share your contact info and again, more information about the Spinoff event in the description, and we certainly invite our audience to like and subscribe, so you stay in touch with all the upcoming episodes. But Darlene, this has been great, and I really thank you, and I can't wait to see you at SelectUSA in June.
Likewise. Yes, likewise. Look forward to seeing you then, Bill. Thank you so much.